And that all immediately, when I think about that, all circles back to what we started with, the self-care. Doing the self-care gives me the strength to live that way. And you were 100% right. There was so many times in that college experience where, I used to be sighted. I would have to weave into every conversation something about that I used to have full sight. Even when it didn't apply to the conversation, I would somehow magically weave it in, smooth or not smooth, because I felt like that validated me. But what you're saying is living as us, as we are, that's deep strength. That's courage. And using self-care got me there.
Hello and welcome to the F.E.E.L podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Crook. I have got a great guest here with me today. We met via my good friends at Podmatch. You've heard me shout them out before. They've brought me another great story, and I don't want to overuse the great, but she tells a story we haven't heard yet here on the platform. And she speaks to an audience of people that there's a lot of misunderstanding around. And it's never intentional, but also needs to be spoken to, because we need to be very careful about the assumptions we make about people, about the stories we assign to them before we actually know them. And Laura Bratton is going to speak to that today. And you're probably wondering, what is she talking about? Stay with me and you're going to get to hear that. Laura, how would you describe yourself? Not by your roles and titles, but as a person. What are some words you would use to describe yourself?
The first word that instantly comes to my mind is courageous.
Yeah.
And I say that because life has brought that upon me to develop that sense of courage as literal survival, just to navigate the world and continue forward.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And we're going to get into what that all means. Welcome, my friend, to the F.E.E.L podcast. I'm so thankful.
Thank you. I am so honored and excited to be here.
Oh, good. Well, let's get going. Let's start with self-care and taking care of yourself. This has maybe a little bit of a different lens for you than some people, but in some ways it doesn't. I think we overthink sometimes when people deal with other abilities that we don't deal with. And we're going to get to what that is in a minute and how they came upon you. They make assumptions about how different our life must be. And yes, it's different, but there's also some things about being a woman in the world, that aren't different, that we still have to, prioritize our care. And sometimes it looks a lot the same as someone else. So talk to me more about that and speak to whatever it is you feel like will kind of give people an insight into what your self-care journey has been like.
So my self-care journey is definitely a holistic approach of the mind, the body, and the spirit.
Okay.
I can't, one without the other. It doesn't feel like self-care.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is I need an exercise workout routine daily, weekly. This not something I do just for a season for 6 weeks, but something that's integrated into just my lifestyle. That's just a part of my being. So it would definitely be exercise, workout, yoga, Pilates. It'd definitely be that, just on the physical, moving my body, keeping my body healthy, just in balance. With that, definitely goes the nutrition. What I found for me is that when I eat a lot of processed sugar, my anxiety goes through the roof. And it is not specifically anxiety about anything. I'm just so jittery. I feel like I want to jump out of my own skin. So I only realized that just through trial. I didn't intentionally say, oh, let me lower my anxiety. Let me do this.
Right.
Lower my anxiety. Just eating better. eating more fruits and vegetables and whole food and less processed, that greatly helped my anxiety. It helped my skin. It helped my sleep. And again, it's not an extreme, oh my gosh, I can never have ice cream, right?
Right.
I can never have mint chocolate chip again. That would be terrible. That would not be self-care. But to keep it in balance.
Yeah.
So nutrition, exercise is a huge part of my lifestyle. And then from the mindset. So I practice mindfulness. And that is so much of my self-care of just focusing on, am I observing thoughts or am I jumping into those thoughts, assuming those thoughts are absolute permanent reality?
Yeah, I love that you touched on that. I think that we treat thoughts as truth without giving a second thought to where they're actually coming from.
Where they're actually coming from. And they might just be thoughts that we have, right? They really, it's not permanent. I thought every thought I had was absolute truth and permanent.
Yeah. So when did you realize having this really holistic approach to your self-care was necessary? Was there an epiphany moment, or have you just kind of always known this was important?
Again, it was through pure life experience. So going through the experience of being diagnosed with a rare eye disease and then becoming completely blind as a teenager, that's when I realized to keep going, my self-care is not an option.
Yeah.
It's a must. It's an option if I want to be roller coaster of emotions. Let me make that clear. But it's not an option if I just want to be in that grounded, present foundation. So for me, self-care is really not a choice for my well-being. I have to have it in order to create that well-being. So I have the energy to focus on adapting to life without sight in a sighted world.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to go in, we're going to come back to that, and we're going to come back to this revelation that you've just shared in a moment. But I intentionally started the way I did because I wanted you all listeners to hear Laura's self-care practices look like a lot of sighted people's. Yes. And so I think this idea of this, let's honor the parts that need to be, honored and taken care of, and make sure there's safe places and spaces for people that are blind to move through the world, but also they're people, they're women living everyday lives with,
exact same women issues, right?
Exactly. So I thought it was important to point that out. So let's talk about healthy boundaries for you. At what point did you realize they were necessary? What's your journey with healthy boundaries looked like? Because that's kind of a new word we're hearing over the last 10 years. We didn't grow up with that. No, for me, I talk about this all the time. Geographically speaking was how I thought of a boundary, like the state.
100%. That's so true. So for me, it completely circles back to the self-care. When I'm in those self-care practices of the mindfulness, the exercise, the working out, the yoga, the nutrition, the healthy boundaries are more natural. Healthy boundaries don't have to be a rigid rule that I set and never cross.
Yeah.
When I'm in that self-care, I can hold the boundaries. When I say loosely, I don't mean like the boundaries don't matter. What I mean is I have boundaries, and then I can assess each situation differently. So my self-care 100% basically are my boundaries. It just plays into having the healthy boundaries of protecting my energy, protecting my emotions, just protecting my grounding, my well-being, my peace.
Yeah. I love how you've connected all that so succinctly. And this goes nicely. And you've really already talked about it, but I'm going to ask some questions within it that I think are going to really help our listeners tie together your experience. You've addressed already the knowledge that emotional, mental, physical, spiritual health are connected, and your practices that you utilize regularly to tend to all those spaces. it is two different experiences. There are those people in the world that are born blind. And then there are those people in the world that are diagnosed with some kind of problem or disease or have an accident that brings blindness on later. You lived, your first, 16 years in the life in a sighted world. It's hard enough being a 16-year-old girl in the world on its own.
Right.
And then to get this kind of diagnoses and having to accept and embrace this new reality when you're already swimming and all that encompasses being a teenager. Talk to me about that impact, because that is an emotional, mental, physical health impact if I've ever heard one.
The level of grief cannot be put into words. I can't even begin to say the grief that I experienced, because as you perfectly said, I experienced so much of life with sight.
Yeah.
So then adjusting to life without sight, the constant grief, the constant loss was, a year ago, this was so much easier. A year ago, I could do this task in 5 minutes, and I never thought about it while I was doing 14 other things, right?
Yeah.
And now this one task, I can only do by itself, and it takes me an hour, and I can't do 14 other things while I'm doing it. So, yeah, the intense grief, that the anxiety, the panic attacks that came from that, the depression, I can't quite put into words the depth of it.
Yeah. What allowed you to move forward from this? What the people, the places, the spaces, the tools, the resources? How do you begin to pick up the pieces? And I love that you mentioned the grief. I think grief is something that we try to stuff away and move forward and move away from, when honestly, it's so important to acknowledge it and name it and feel it and allow it to happen and not try to push it away, because that does more damage than good in the long run. But I think that's such the intense, deep grief that comes with this. And then being able to move forward into this new reality. Talk to me about that moving forward journey.
So it was 100% because of my support system. So the level of grief was so intense.
Yeah.
I could not move forward on my own. There wasn't, just humanly, I didn't have the bandwidth, energy, to do all the life normal things and choose to move forward. It was way too much. Yeah. So it's the support around me that empowered me. And I want to make it very clear, it was not through their words, it was through their actions. Because literally when people would say to me, oh, you're so strong, you're so amazing, you're so inspirational, you're doing great, I would literally just shake my head like, I don't know who you're talking to. No thanks. It was the actions. And a very practical example of the actions was, one example would be my parents, who said, yes, this is terrifying. Yes, this is uncertain. And all we have to do is focus on today. We don't have, where I was, how am I going to live? How am I going to college? How will I ever have a job? How will I ever get married? How will I ever blah, 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 I'll just live. Yeah. And again, I'm 17, right? Which normally you're asking that at 17 anyway, but I had the added layer of without sight. My parents would say to me every day, all we have to focus on is today. Let's get up, eat breakfast, get to school on time. That's accomplishment. That's a win for the day. Wow. That's you moving forward. Wow. So literally, I move forward moment by moment, day by day. And I mean that very, very, very literally. Like, I don't mean that in a cliche, moment to moment, I mean that very, very literally. I would be, and I still vividly remember this, I would be in high school in first period, the first class of the day, and think, okay, I'm here. I can do this next hour. All I have to do is get to second period, second class. Like, it was that literal taking it moment by moment. And then the hours led up into days, and the days led up into weeks, and the weeks led up into months. So it was truly a building block experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you adapt schooling wise? Because you're mid high school here, like you're going along doing your thing. And all of a sudden you've got this new challenge that, everybody has to kind of respond to support you in it. How did that work?
So the schooling process was, I started to, instead of doing art and PE and like the extracurricular classes in school, I was working with an instructor, learning Braille, learning how to use a computer with software that reads everything on the screen. So the school part actually wasn't the hard part. The hard part was the emotional, mental mindset of now I'm a mother. Right? Like now I'm just not a normal teenager in this school. So it was about what you said, the grief process of, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I'm not normal. And that's all a teenage girl wants.
Yeah. When you're clamoring to find your identity and who you are, and so many times you're just trying to find your people and where you feel safe. And all of this, and all of a sudden you have this thing, this unknown that there's not necessarily a roadmap for it. You are navigating.
No, not at all.
I love the wisdom of your parents, though, and understanding the importance of taking one day at a time and being present. And even if I having been a parent and raised kids, there's a lot of times as parents, you are terrified inside, but you got to show up with the bright face.
And they were. I mean, they'll tell you every single day they absolutely were. But there really wasn't an option, right?
Right.
If they
what's the choice?
To move their daughter forward, because I literally to this day, 30 years later, people say to my parents, I don't know how you did it then.
Yeah.
And they just kind of shake their heads and say, but you would do it too if it was your situation. Exactly. It's just, you don't have a choice in the moment. So yes, I was deeply grateful. And the other gift they gave me, and I'd love to share this story because as a mom, you'll 100% be able to relate. They didn't change their standards of me. So as I'm in panic, in grief, in depression, they didn't coddle me. Obviously, they provided for what I needed. I was in house. It wasn't that they ignored my needs, but they didn't, you can just be victim and we'll just take care of you for the rest of your life. That'll be your brother's job for the rest of his life to take care of you,
Right.
They kept the same standards. They believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And the one situation that stands out to me so clearly that this is what you'll understand as a mom. One night in my teenage brain, I thought it was a brilliant idea to get up all my chores at home to say, I'm blind. I can't do those anymore.
Such a teenage move.
Don't you think that's a good teenage idea? Like, I thought that was brilliant. I was so proud of myself. I was like, look at how smart I am.
I can use this to my advantage.
Exactly. 100%, right? Like, mom, never. So one night I still can see it, feel it, remember it. She was done loading the dishwasher. She's like, okay, Laura, dishwasher's done. Dishes are clean. Time to unload the dishwasher. And I said, so seriously, I know what I'm talking about. Oh, Mom, I can't unload the dishwasher. I'm going blind. And she was in the doorway, walking out of the kitchen into the hallway. And she's a teacher. Let me preface it with that. So she turned around and looked at me and said, Laura Bratton, unload the dishwasher. And turned to go down the hall. Meanwhile, my dad is in the den and didn't jump up to my rescue.
Yeah.
He heard this whole interaction and didn't jump up to save the day.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, they are the meanest parents on the planet. My dad heard everything that was going on, didn't come to my rescue. My mom just made a blind kid unload the dishwasher. That's mean. But that was the greatest gift and greatest source of strength they could have modeled to me.
Yeah. They empowered you.
They empowered me because what I realized, and of course I loaded the dishwasher totally angry,
Of course.
I was angry, like, well, that plan didn't work. What I realized, they were saying, you're so you.
Yeah.
All the forks and the silverware, all the forks, the knives, the spoons, they might not perfectly be in the silverware drawer lined up and even, but that's not the point. The point is, with accommodations, you can unload the dishwasher. Yes, it's going to take you longer, but that's just you. That's who you now are. We still believe in you that you can unload the dishwasher.
Yeah.
So I share that to say, in the moment, I thought they were the meanest parents on the planet. Yet that was the greatest source of strength and healing they could have given me, because they were literally showing me through their actions, you're still you, and you can't use this thing, blindness, as an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah. They still held you accountable.
Yes, they still have. And if they had said, if my mom had said, oh, honey, it's okay, I'll get your brother to do it. Or if my dad had jumped up and said, oh, you just don't need to know the dishwasher, I'll get your brother to do it, I would have said, oh, my plan is great. This is what I can do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like, I use this blindness as a reason not to live.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for that. That's such an important story. And I'm, thinking too, that was probably really hard for your parents. I mean, they're probably your mom was probably like, what have I just done? But she also had the wisdom to know it was necessary if you were going to live a life.
Yes. They'll both tell you it was gut wrenching.
Yeah.
They felt mean doing it, right? Like,
right.
Absolutely gut wrenching to do it. But they knew there was no other option for me to continue forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one more question about this season, and then we're going to move forward. So college, did you go on to college? What did you do after high school?
So I went to Arizona State and majored in psychology.
Wow. Just like any other 18-year-old kid.
Right.
But not just like it. I mean,
right.
So but I have to go back to that story, what you shared, and their willingness to be like, okay, there's still accountability. You can still live your life. We're going to adjust and move with it. But you're going to learn what's possible for you, allowed you to make that decision. Arizona State's one of the biggest universities in the country. It's huge.
There were 7,000 people in my freshman class. I'm not exaggerating.
Oh, yeah. I think they have like 70,000 students when you factor in grad and everything. It's a huge place. It's a great school, but a huge place. So just having that ability to go on and do that, this goes nicely into living unapologetically. You are doing this. You are living this every day. You have moved forward in a way that has allowed you to embrace your life, move through your life in a way where you're not apologizing. You're showing up every day. And I think that also your willingness to share your story, your willingness to get out there and be a resource for people is how you show up unapologetically. No apologies from me. And also you can live unapologetically too. And let's work together to ensure you feel empowered to do that.
Yes. And that all immediately, when I think about it, all circles back to what we started with, the self-care. Doing the self-care gives me the strength to live that way. And you were 100% right. There was so many times in that college experience where, I used to be sighted. I would have to weave into every conversation something about that I used to have full sight. Even when it didn't apply to the conversation, I would somehow magically like weave it in, smooth or not smooth, because I felt like that validated me. But what you're saying is living as us, as we are, that's deep strength. That's courage. And using self-care got me there.
I love that. And so when you chose your major, how much of that was connected to your experience, or was that a road you always wanted to go down?
Both. It was always a road I wanted to go down that I naturally felt that helper profession to learn how our mindset works.
Sure.
And I was just always that person that people would come to and tell all their problems. Like, and what do I do about it? 12-year-old? I'm like, I don't know. I'm 12. But I loved it. I thrived in it. That wasn't weird to me. That was just natural.
Mm-hmm.
So it was both where I wanted to go. And then also because of my life experience, I became fascinated with how do we heal when we experience major adversity?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And we all are going to face some kind of adversity in our lives.
Yes,
and
100%.
it's just part of the human experience. Wow. So talk to me about what it means to you to live unapologetically. I've given examples of what it looks like from me looking at your life, but what does it feel like for you?
For me, it means being comfortable in my own skin. It means accepting I am who I am. And just end of story, not trying to justify or, like you said, apologize or explain, just being comfortable in my own skin. This is my new normal. This is who I am. And what I quickly realized and learned, I can't control how other people respond to me. And the fascinating part, and this has been my own little psychology study on just life experience study. When I'm comfortable in my own skin, people are more comfortable talking to me. They're more comfortable in their situation. I can't tell you the number of people that have said to me, wow, you just put me at such ease in myself.
Wow.
And all I did was be comfortable in my own body. It wasn't like I said some magical words or phrase or it wasn't like I said anything. It was just me being comfortable in my own skin gave them permission to be comfortable in their own skin.
I love that. And it really is an example of when we show up authentically and organically as ourselves, taking good care of ourselves, honoring ourselves in that way, it truly opens up space. There's an energy that exists.
There is. And truly, I can't put that energy into words, but it is my true lived experience. And other people around me, my family, my friends, they see it all day long. They're like, oh my gosh, we can't, just joking my family, like, oh my gosh, we can't go anywhere with someone just walking up to you and talking to you and telling you their deep, dark, secrets and problems and fears. Is people are just naturally attracted to that energy of what you're saying, that openness, that safety, that openness. I'm comfortable here, so you can be comfortable here too.
Yeah. And I think it shows how much we crave that. That we're so drawn to people that offer that.
Very well said. Very well said. Because again, it's not like I'm like, okay, we're old, I'm comfortable in my own skin, y'all all come to me, right?
Right.
It's not like thank you for saying that, because that made me realize it's not that I'm advertising it. It's not that I'm promoting everyone come to me. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'll teach you. It's not about me talking about it. It's about me being in it.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. Oh my gosh. And that really leads nicely into, and I think you've already really spoken to this in a way, but talk to me about really connecting with your why and your values behind what you do and how that sets the kind of the calendar for you, what you say yes and no to. It really feeds into healthy boundaries. But talk to me about that why and values journey that really gets you up every day.
So for me, the why and the value very much came, again, from just my natural tendencies, but also my life experience. So as I became comfortable in my own skin and was able to move forward with confidence, I clearly realized my why was to be that empowerment for other people. As I had received such support that empowered me forward, just like the silverware situation, I wanted to be that presence for people in the world. As I became clear on that why, that's where you said it perfectly. That's where the boundaries came in.
Mm.
Because, and here's what I mean by this, and this circles back. And I'm not doing this intentionally because your podcast is real life experience. It all circles back to being who we are and the self-care. And what I mean by that is so many people want to put me into a box of, and I guess because of Stevie Wonder, I have no idea why people make the assumption. Everyone assumes I'm a great singer. They're like, you're fine. You're a great musician. I'm like, I'm afraid to sing in the shower, people.
Wow.
No, there is no singing coming out of this person. No, you would not pay money for that. Let me guarantee you. You pay money to get out of the concert hall. So they want to put me in a box.
Yeah.
Oh, and I people literally all the time. Oh, so the only people you work with are people who are blind. And the honest truth is, and again, this wasn't intentional, I've never worked with anyone who's blind.
Oh, so interesting that people assume that.
So I'm only saying that to say our why is what we want it to be and what our passion is. And that's where boundaries come in. Yeah. It's so easy that our why becomes what other people tell us it is.
Yes. Yes.
So if I had listened and I would have been so upset that, oh my gosh, my why is to be a singer. I don't want to be a singer. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I have to be a singer. So I share that to say that's just a reminder for all of us. Just as women, as humans, our why is our purpose, what drives us, not the why that other people assume and try to force on us.
Yes. Yes. And that is such a perfect segue into living out of your own expectations versus others. You're doing that. You've done that. Yes. I want to go back to something you said earlier. You talked about for a while in college, you felt like you had to bring up that you were sighted in whatever situation you're in. When did you realize it was time to release that you didn't need to connect to that in kind of a way where you announce it to people, that your value and who you were and how you show up in the world did not ebb and flow based on people knowing that about you or not?
It was a series of events. There wasn't one moment where I just said, oh, now I don't have to do that anymore. Honestly, it was trial and error. I would realize when I was just confident and just that inner calm, inner peace, and just had a natural conversation with someone and didn't bring up the fact that, I could see 12 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever. It was fine. I was fine. Yeah. I actually felt better. It actually was more energizing for me. I didn't walk away from every conversation emotionally exhausted. Yeah. It was like, wow, that actually was energizing and life-giving. So I share that to say it was just a series of events of learning, and literally trying out. Oh, when I just have a conversation about this calculus class we're in or the party we're going to go to at Friday night, and that was just actually a normal conversation. I didn't have to weave into there the fact that I used to could see, and then we talked about calculus class so it was just learning that I could have a conversation just about who I was in my everyday. I didn't have to circle back to the past, and it actually was healing. It actually gave me more life. It didn't take away from me.
I love that.
So it was a process.
Yeah. And which totally makes sense because adapting and learning in this new season, it's going to take time, of course. I thank you for sharing that. Back to the expectations piece, you've defined that. You live your life on your terms. You've clearly defined your why, your values. You know what you need to care for yourself and how that informs where your healthy boundaries live. You've really made this cohesion of your life and putting all these pieces together. what would you say for listeners out there? What are some of those expectations that people that are sighted kind of invoke on the blind community that are just like, what are some common things you run into that you would like the world to know? Stop doing that.
That I'm superhuman.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Seriously. No, I mean that literally, that I'm just like this
Yeah.
superhuman. And it's like, no, actually, I'm just a human in this human experience trying to get through every day. Right? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing superhuman about it. It's actually our human potential we can all tap into. My level of courage, my level of resiliency, you can have that same level of resiliency, courage too, in the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people say to me, "Oh, I could never have the strength that you have."
Yeah.
You could, and it's within you.
Wow.
I don't have a special layer of strength because I'm blind, right? Like,
right.
it's just part of our human experience. I've just had to tap into it more.
Yeah. Yeah. Life just forced.
Yeah.
But a lot of times life forces us in a lot of different ways to tap into that. And I feel like you really help people see that.
See that it's not just blindness or not just disability. I mean, life in general. I mean, you can speak from raising kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just the experience of being in the world, being in a relationship, being in connection with others. We have to develop that strength.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can do it. We have it all within us. I think I love that part of
100%.
just that recognition that we have it all within us.
We all have it within us. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned layers already, but talk to me about this. You know, we talk a lot about embracing our layers. This is a core component of these talking points, of this framework that I share. It's really, I feel like you've got to be able to embrace your layers, all the pieces and parts of your life that you love, that you don't love, decisions you made, decisions you wish you didn't make, things that happened to you, and be able to embrace them with curiosity rather than judgment, so you can see and know and own your value, because we prioritize what we value.
Right.
But it's hard. And so you get this,
really
this unexpected layer, you know, that introduced itself to you when you were in high school, and you've moved forward from that. But talk to me about embracing all the layers of this journey and what it's been like, because I feel like you've done that, but also it's been a process.
So I thought I had to grieve and then I could move forward. I experienced anxiety, panic attacks, and then I moved forward. I thought it was very compartmentalized, not the layers, what you're saying, all holding it together. And I want to share one conversation that taught me 100% exactly what you're saying. It's layers. It's all parts of us. It's the good, the bad, like you said, the parts we want to remember, the parts that we don't want to remember, the parts that we like, the parts that we don't like. So it was a week before I was starting college at ASU, and I was in an administrator's office, and I don't remember what our meeting was about. But at the end of the meeting, she said, "Laura, before you go, I just want to let you know you can grieve and move forward at the same time." Oh. This grieving process, you think you went through it in high school and that you've checked that box and now it's time to move forward. And she literally said, permission. I want to give you permission that you can grieve the rest of your life. And that's not a weakness. That doesn't mean you haven't accepted your blindness. That doesn't mean you're not moving forward. It means you do both at the same time.
Yes. Yes. The nuance.
And that was the permission I needed to do both.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because again, in my mind, it was, well, if I'm grieving, then I can't move forward. Actually, it's healing, and it brings us to a wholeness when we do both.
Yeah. Because I think that's such a good point, because life's going to continue to evolve and unfold seasons that you haven't experienced yet. And you don't know what it is you're going to love or grieve in each season until you get to it.
Until you
And
get
so,
there, right?
and so if you shut down, and I'm such an I talk about this a lot. I don't believe in good or bad emotions. Emotions are
100%.
clues.
Yes.
And they let us know where we're at, and we need to allow them to breathe and move, and we can feel multiple emotions at one time. We can both be grateful and be mourning something. Both.
That's my life. 100%. Yes.
Yeah. That was such a great example of that. Thank you so much. All right. When it comes to living out F.E.E.L, finding empowerment, embracing layers, you are doing this. You are such a beautiful example of this. Talk to me about how that has affected the relationship you have with yourself, as well as your relationships with other people.
My relationship with myself, it brings that realness.
Mm.
And what I immediately think of when you said that is it takes the judgment off.
Mm.
So rather than constantly judging myself, why'd you say that? Why'd you do that? That was a stupid comment. That was weird. Why'd you say that out loud? Rather than constantly judging myself, it's just this deeper level of acceptance. And that doesn't mean I don't have a growth mindset. That doesn't mean I don't check myself, hold myself accountable. It just means that critical judging part of me is not as loud.
Mm.
And that, I can't tell you how healing that is, right? Because I lived so long in that judgment critical mindset.
Sure.
The gift that it brings in relation with others is it brings less confrontation. It brings, and what I mean by that is it brings less competition.
Mm.
It brings less of that sense of I have to constantly compete with others, like one up others, rather than just I'm grounded and centered in who I am. And I'll be me and you be you. And it's just more of a even perspective. Again, I want to use that word grounding. It's just more of a calm connection rather than, this is the word, proving. It feels like I don't have to constantly prove myself, my work to the other person. And I'm not expecting that other person to prove themselves to me.
Yeah. And that it allows that authenticity and safety to come to be.
Yeah. Yes.
Going back to what you said earlier, how you're a person, you always have been, that people have been naturally drawn to, that have naturally created safe spaces for it. Do you find that's true in both your professional work as well as your personal life?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. But when you're grounded in yourself, you draw in the kind of people that are also want that for you. Like you tend to draw the people in that are also going to be those safe places for us to land. Would you say that was been true for you?
100%. And I just literally had this conversation with my brother yesterday about this in a business corporation in his work environment. That's so true. Just I've been Ben/R, his mindset coach. And that's what I taught him so much about, that the like attracts like. And he didn't believe me for a long time. What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. But he's living it out. As he is comfortable and confident in his work ability, just in his own just sense of being, that's who's naturally attracted.
Yeah.
And it really, what we were talking about yesterday is that frustrates people, right?
Yes. They don't know what to do with it.
They don't know what to do with
because they haven't done their own, they haven't gotten to that space with themselves.
Right. So it makes them frustrated. Like, why are you not fighting me? Why are you not competing with me? And I find that all the time in myself, that people are like, especially other women, I have to say, other women want to like, why aren't you kind of competing with me here? Why aren't we like, I'm trying to prove to you how great I am. Why aren't you just matching me and trying to up me?
Yes. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's one of the narratives that I talk a lot about on here. We don't change places and spaces for women if we don't come together and do it in collaboration. We have to stop seeing each other as each other's competitor and see each other as each other's teammate.
Support.
And yes. And when there's more room for us, for me, there's more room for you, and vice versa. And then we invite other people along with us into the room with us. That's how we come together and support each other. We get curious. We ask questions. How is it that I can show up for you? Instead of assuming we know or assuming that you're the competition or the problem. Start seeing each other as the solution to the problem that exist in the world for women, and come together with all of our uniqueness, with all of our different stories, and have a welcomeness to that, and not see it as a threat.
Threats. That's the word. Yeah. See this, as you said, teamwork, not a threat.
Yes, absolutely. You said that so well. Thank you so much for that. All right. We are winding down here. I've got a few rapid fire questions for you. Talk to me about, and you've talked about these a lot already, but we'll revisit it and see if there's any you want to add. 5 activities that nourish you.
The ocean, being it, and what I mean by the ocean is just being, this could be all 5, just being at the beach, just the sand, the water, the wind, just the air, that definitely the beach. The kind of the opposite extreme of that, which I absolutely love equally as much, is hiking. Being out in nature, just being like hiking to a waterfall, just experiencing the wildlife. That is incredibly grounding.
Yeah.
The third one would be laughter. Just the joy in life. And I'm the first one to admit this and say this, as a type A driven female, I can get so serious and so goal oriented, driven.
Yeah.
Forget just to laugh.
Yes.
Just have fun. It's the simple things, and just it doesn't have to be so intense all the time. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Fourth would definitely be just those, just like similar to laughter, those healing conversations. And I don't mean, yes, of course, like the deep, intense, but just the conversations with a good friend that I can just pick up the phone and call and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to me today. Let me tell you this, or let me hear about your day, or what chocolate did you enjoy today? Just those everyday connections.
Yeah. Yeah. So invigorating.
It's so invigorating. It's so incredibly invigorating.
Yeah. So I want to circle back because I love how you just blow expectations out of the water. There's going to be listeners out there that are going to be like, I thought she said she was blind. She's going hiking and going to a waterfall. Talk to me about what that experience is like for you. Like, do you notice that you hear things more intentionally than you used to? How does that? Okay.
Yeah. And I'll give you a real world experience. And this also, if I can, circles back to the holding two feelings, two truths in tension, just like you were talking about the mourning and the grateful.
Yeah.
So my husband and stepdaughter and I, we could go hiking all the time. And just about 2 weeks ago, we were doing like a 6-mile loop. And in that experience, about midway through, there wasn't anything, nothing happened. They didn't say anything to me. Like, it wasn't anything direct, but I just was like, gosh, I just mourn. I'm just sad. I can't see this. I can't see the beauty of the mountains, the sun shining through the mountains, the wildlife running by. And it wasn't like a deep, it was just a sadness, a mourning of like, gosh, I just miss this.
Yeah.
At the same time, there was that deep, deep gratitude that I'm with two people that I care about most in the world, right? Yeah. Like the gift of connection. Again, most of the time we're not talking, we're like, oh my gosh, it's still so high, right? Yeah. Like, it still looks like it's never going to end. We have nothing to say to each other, right? We don't have the breath to say it. But it's not what we're saying, is just being together. It's just taking a water break and snack break at the waterfall. And then, so I want to say that very much from the gratitude and the mourning are equally as valid.
Yeah.
To answer your question on just the experience, I'm way more in tune to not just the hearing, but just the energetic presence. So as far as the hearing, true situation, my stepdaughter, she's 12, so she's always ahead of us. Like, y'all are so slow. Of course, so she's always like way ahead of us, And so I will say, oh, a biker's coming up. And my husband's like, no, I don't see a biker. No. And I'm like, yeah, a biker's coming. I hear it. And he's like, no, there's no biker around. I don't see it. 2 seconds later, oh yeah, I see that biker coming.
Wow.
100% of the time I hear the things, not before it happens. I don't mean that, but like,
sure,
before it's in visual.
Yeah.
Visual perspective, before
sure.
you see, I'm hearing it because I can hear it further before they turn the corner or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then definitely just being aware of the wildlife. Like I'll hear something and say, oh yeah, what is that over there to the right? And like, oh, it's nothing. And then 2 seconds later, oh yeah, there's a rabbit hopping along,
Yeah.
So just more aware of the sounds that are just around me. And again, it's not that other people don't hear it. It's just that I'm more in tune.
Sure.
It's focus on it more.
Right. And also the added experience that's giving to your husband and stepdaughter.
Right.
By being with you. And they would have missed
that. And there's been a lot of times where I'm like, hey, where is that bird? Where I hear that bird. Where is it? And they're like, no, there's no bird here. And they're like, oh my God, there's the most beautiful bird we've never seen before. Yeah, you're right. So then they get to stop and experience the bird, or I'm like one time I'm thinking about very specifically, I'm like, I hear a woodpecker. I hear the woodpecker. Where's the woodpecker? And they're like, Laura, there's no woodpecker around. And then of course, the 12-year-old's like a challenge. I'm going to find the woodpecker. And she does. It's like, oh my God, it's way up in the trees. I never would have seen. And then we spend 20 minutes staring at a woodpecker, So it's just that bringing that perspective because they're so focused on the visual.
Sure.
There's so much we can bring.
Yeah.
So and just feeling the energy. Like I'll say, gosh, it just feels so peaceful in this area, in this particular section of the hike. And they're like, oh yeah, it does. Like they have to stop and think about it. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you're right. So just picking up on the energy, the sounds, the aura of the environment.
Yeah. And it keeps you so present.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thanks so much for sharing that. That was really beautiful. All right. 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months.
Continue the courage. Definitely. As I started literally with the first word being courage, that for me would be one of the 5 words because I've understand courage is a daily practice. So it would be the courage, it would be the resiliency, it would be strength. And just like I shared the laughter, just the joy, not missing the joy. And then just the deep peace. And can I explain real quick what I mean by peace?
Absolutely.
Not peace like life is going good. And so I'm peaceful. What I mean by peace is just that inner calm.
Wow.
Just that inner calm within my being.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's something that we have to understand that you're not going to get rid of life's challenges and you can't use that as your barometer for peace.
Right.
It's that learning to live with that contentness within sometimes the chaos, even.
With most of the time within the chaos.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because that's what life tends to be. Oh my gosh.
Life is.
Oh, 100%. Laura, share with people where they can find you and follow you.
So the best place is my website. laurabratton.com has all the information on my speaking, coaching, book, all the information's there.
Okay. And one last thought that you would like to leave with our listeners today.
Know that you are enough.
Mm.
And I say that because as women in this human experience, it's so easy to think we're never enough.
Yeah.
And so I just want to remind all of us that as we are who we are, as we are created, we are enough. And to believe that within ourselves, because the world's not going to tell us that or validate that. So to know that and trust that in our being, that we are enough.
Mm. Thank you so much. Such a beautiful way to wrap up this episode. Laura, thank you for being with me today. Thank you for how you show up in the world. You are a blessing. And also you are just beautifully human. And I love that. I love how you live this life as a woman would live her life. And you found a way to weave into your experiences both the challenge of it and the acknowledgement of the difficulty at times, but also it hasn't gotten in the way of you just living your life.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And thank you for this platform because it's deeply needed.
Yeah.
We all need it to give that voice, that perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Listeners, go to our website to find Laura's information if you didn't have a chance to jot it down. Thank you so much for being with us here today. I know that there's so much you took from this. Go back and listen again. Take notes. Remember, you are enough. You're valuable. You're worthy. And you get to choose. You get to choose the life you want to live for yourself. Take good care. And we'll see you here next time on the F.E.E.L podcast. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today on this episode of the F.E.E.L podcast. If you would like more information on how you can apply these talking points that I share with our guests in each episode to your own life, really utilize this F.E.E.L framework, go to embracinglayers.com, fill out our contact form, and let's set up a free 30-minute consultation to talk about how you can start living your most authentic, organic, healthy, F.E.E.L-fueled life. Thanks again for being with us today. We'll be back to you soon with another episode here on the F.E.E.L podcast.